Hey guys, welcome to our YouTube video, and this is Game Boy Advance Cartridge. It's Game Boy Advance Cartridge for GBA. Game Boy Advance GBA Cartridge. This is Game Boy Advance 148-in-1 Advance SP Game Boy. It's brand new that Game Boy Advance cartridge. 148-in-1 Game Boy Advance have 3 games for Game Boy Advance. We have Disney Pixar Cars, Game Boy Advance, Power Rangers, Game Boy Advance, and Nickelodeon's Avatar, Game Boy Advance. That's Game Boy Advance 148-in-1 Advance SP cartridge. I got a new Game Boy Advance cartridge. These are not only Game Boy Advance cartridge, it's Game Boy Advance cartridge drawings. See, I got 7 Game Boy Advance cartridge. Let's review Game Boy Advance cartridges. Here is Game Boy Advance NES games. I have 150 NES Classics Game Boy Advance. It's Game Boy Advance 150 NES Classics. Look, there's Mario and Luigi. For NES Classics 150 Game Boy Advance. I like it that NES Classics 150 Game Boy Advance. There's more Classic NES series for Game Boy Advance. Ta-da! It's Classic NES series Super Mario Bros. Game Boy Advance GBA. I like that Super Mario Bros. Classic NES series GBA for Nintendo. I got a new Game Boy Advance. Ta-da! It's 135-in-1 Advance SP Game Boy Advance. I like it that 135-in-1 Game Boy Advance. Here is 130. This is 130-in-1 Game Boy Advance. There's more 143-in-1 Advance SP No Repeat Game Boy Advance. I like that 143-in-1 Game Boy Advance. But it's very cool that Game Boy Advance 143-in-1. That is from Birthday. Yes, that's from Birthday. So there is 143-in-1. Next, I have 185. 185-in-1 Game Boy Advance. I like that 185 in 1 Game Boy Advance. And the last Game Boy Advance cartridge is no repeat. Ta-da! It's Game Boy Advance 369 in 1 no repeat. Look, it's Mario for Game Boy Advance no repeat. It's blue. I have 369 in 1 Game Boy Advance cartridge, but I think that is from grandparents' house. I do have that. I just do not have it to show you. So that's Game Boy Advance cartridge review. I like that Game Boy Advance cartridge, GBA cartridge. See, I got many Game Boy Advance cartridges. When you comment down below, I got many Game Boy Advance cartridges. Comment down below. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please comment, subscribe. Please put on like on the video. Hit that like button. Click subscribe button. Hit that bell. Upload. Thank you very much. I hope you like this Game Boy Advance cartridge for GBA. Thanks for watching.